Louis, we've talked about your early years in the mob and the hierarchy of that organization.
Mhm.
Tell us about how you rose in it and your more increased responsibilities as time went on.
I rose by earning. The biggest thing you could do in the mafia is earn. It's an organization. It's about money, and people forget that really. With all the, you watch all these movies, and there's a lot of blood and guts and Goodfellas, and Joe Pesci's stabbing this guy with an ice pick, and he's shooting that guy 15 times, and you forget that it's all about money. And if you could earn, you move. You move quick. It's all about paying the next guy. You kick a piece up, the guy wants you, the guy likes you, the guy promotes you. That's how you rise in the ranks too. So if you go from a associate to a soldier to a capo to part of the administration, which is the consigliere, the underboss or the boss, it's because you've earned your way to the top. Now there's a little bit of a thing I'm covering it in my history book, which is coming out soon. Is a thing about people who kill. There are a lot of people who kill their way up, and they're really not the best earners, but they kill, and you need people who kill because you are a mafia. And there's an old Sicilian saying: "It takes all kinds of meat to make a sauce." It takes all kinds of different people to make a mafia family, and not everybody's the butcher. When you sit down at the table, not everybody slaughtered the pig, not everybody killed the cow. There's a guy for that. And in the mafia, there's a guy who slaughters the pig and kills the cow. And that's the guy who likes to kill. And usually those guys, everybody has to participate at some point in some type of violence, if not a murder. Sometimes you get a job as a cleanup guy. You might get a guy who he's the lookout. He drives a getaway car or a crash car, but he participated in some type of conspiracy to kill somebody. But then there are guys who like murder. There's a guy like Tommy Karate. His friends used to watch him in a bathtub cutting off body parts, and he was like a kid in a toy chest. He loved it. Then there was Roy DeMeo, where even if the guy didn't violate a woman or somebody's wife or daughter, he would cut the penises off and stick them in the mouth. This is some type of sexual deviance he's exhibiting that nobody really thinks deeply about because he's getting the job done. So they say, "Oh, who gives a shit? He sticks a prick in somebody's mouth. What are you going to do?" Well, this guy's a psycho. This guy's a psycho. But somebody at the top who wants to earn, who's a Machiavellian character, maybe a capo or a boss, will use him for his own ends. He uses him to dispose of his own problems. He uses him to dispose of the family problems, and he doesn't care if he's a little psycho. One time, a friend of mine, Richie Pags, a dear friend of mine, I loved the guy. I called him a different name in my memoir, but people knew exactly who he was who read it. He blowtorched the guy's penis off, blowtorched his nuts off. This guy was psycho. He tasted somebody's brains. He was the nicest guy in the world. I got to tell you, I ate with him even when I was in the penitentiary with him. I sat down at a table with him every day for a year and ate with him. Nicest guy you could ever imagine. But you don't cross him, and when he has to kill, that's how he kills. And the bosses didn't care because he was getting the job done. So when Gas Pipe, who used to send him on work, they'd ask Gas Pipe, say, "What's wrong with Richie?" And he says, "He's a little crazy. What are you going to do?" That's how he is. Gas Pipe didn't care as long as he was getting the job done. He was getting rid of his enemies. So that's sort of how the mob works, as far as like there's all kinds of meat to make a sauce.
And in your case, tell us
And
about
in my case, I was a brajol. I wasn't necessarily, I wasn't the butcher. I'm a guy who, gives pleasure. I earn. I kick money up. I'm the guy who's, I'm an earner. Could I defend myself? Yes. I've been accused in federal court of shooting people. I could defend myself if somebody was after me. I had no problem. One time somebody was after me. The guy was a killer. I went to see Joe Butch about it, Joe Butch Correo in Little Italy. And I said to Joe, listen, Joe, you know this guy? He says, "Yeah, I know him. He's dangerous, Lou." He goes, "You want me to take care of it for you?" I said, "No, I'll take care of it myself, Joe." That's omerta. And one man doesn't ask another man to take care of a problem for him. You take care of your own problems. There are people who make the mob tough, and there are people who the mob makes tough. I was somebody who made the mob tough. I take care of it myself, Joe. I got this. And they eventually, I took care of it. But basically, I wasn't the kind of guy who wanted to go out and kill people. I'm not the kind of guy who wants to slaughter people. I don't want to butcher people. I just want to make money. But you are in a jungle, and there are cobras in the jungle, and there are lions in the jungle. And if you're walking through the jungle, you may have to pull out your machete once in a while and scare off a tiger, or maybe even take a swing at one. That's life in the jungle.